Welcome to the latest edition of the RubbingsRacing.com NASCAR News Flash. I'm Toby Christie. Let's get it started. It was a super week for Stewart-Haas Racing. On Friday in qualifying for the Lenox Tools 301 at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, Ryan Newman broke the track record in capturing his 47th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series pole, while his boss Tony Stewart would nab the second starting spot for the race. On Sunday, despite an ultra-competitive race which featured 21 lead changes among 14 different drivers, the Stewart-Haas duo managed to lead 167 laps on the day, and in the closing laps, the team had two different shots at victory. Ryan Newman, who was out front, wasn't quite sure on his fuel mileage, while his teammate Tony Stewart in second had stopped later in the race to assure himself of making it to the finish. However, Newman would have just enough gas to win, and he won the race by nearly 0.8 of a second over his car owner. Following the race, both Newman and Smoke were extremely excited, as you would expect, after the team's first victory of the 2011 season.
Let me say it this way. Tony Gibson said before the race, this is our race, and I wanted to tell him this is not our race until we make it our race, and we did make it our race, and it didn't take me saying that. All the guys joined together and made it happen. So this off week's going to be nice, but going into Indianapolis with a lot of weight off of our shoulders and a smile on our faces is going to be really nice for our team and for our organization.
It really shows me the depth of the people we got in our organization. It's been one of the weirdest years as far as just weird things and bad luck happening to both of us that our guys at our shop just keep plugging away and they keep working and they keep their chins up, and that's probably what I'm the most proud of. I mean, it's easy when things are going right, but when times are tough and you have a day like today and you see how your organization battles out all that, that's what to me shows the character of what Stewart-Haas Racing is about and what our people are like. So that's probably what I'm most proud of in the last 2.5 years is how we've come from the first half of the season to a weekend like this weekend.
Ryan Newman's victory Sunday marked the 13th different winner in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in 2011. In addition to veterans such as Newman pulling into victory lane, we've also seen 3 first-time winners already this year in Trevor Bayne, Regan Smith, and David Reagan. This has been an extremely competitive season, and it promises to continue to be that way all the way down to Homestead. Sprint did announce this week another reason to stay intrigued during the summer months this week when they unveiled the new Sprint Summer Showdown presented by the HTC Evo 3D. This new contest will possibly award a driver's charity, and a fan each $1 million, and it will definitely be something to keep your eye on. Any driver who wins one of the 5 events between the Brickyard 400 and the night race at Bristol will be a finalist in the chase for the cash, which will take place at Atlanta Motor Speedway. If any of these 5 drivers take the checkered flag in the Advocare 500, they take home the cash. Kyle Busch made headlines this weekend by collecting his 100th career NASCAR National Series victory in the Nationwide Series race at New Hampshire, but ultimately his milestone week came to a crashing halt. On lap 61, after rubbing fenders with Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., Busch's tire couldn't handle anymore and it popped in turn 3. This sent the number 18 Toyota hard into the outside wall, which would send him behind the wall for several laps for repairs. The Sprint Cup Series point leader coming into the race would finish 36th, 77 laps off the pace. AJ Allmendinger, who sits 15th in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series point standings, has a brand new crew chief. Last week it was announced that Greg Irwin had been replaced at the crew chief position on Greg Biffle's team by Matt Pusha, and this week Irwin moves over to the 43 team at Richard Petty Motorsports to turn the wrenches for Allmendinger, replacing Mike Shiplett. Allmendinger had this to say about the change. Greg Irwin is a really talented crew chief, and we're lucky to have him come on board with us. He has had a lot of success, brings a fresh perspective, and has shown he knows exactly what it takes to win. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do together and taking the team to that next level. Now, before we leave you, let's take a look at your top 10 finishers from the Lenox Tools 301. The Stewart-Haas teammates, as we mentioned, finished 1-2. Then look at the Joe Gibbs Racing teammates there, Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano in 3rd and 4th. Jimmy Johnson rounded out the top 5, and what about Bobby Labonte, who was my dark horse pick this week, coming home in 7th? Kurt Busch, who has been really hot lately, rounded out the top 10 finishers Sunday. Then you've got the other notables that finished in the race on your right-hand side of your screen. They included Jeff Gordon, who finished 11th, David Reagan in 14th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Clint Boyer. Their slides continue as they finished 15th and 17th. Kevin Harvick ended up way back in 21st, and Kyle Busch, as we said, popped a tire and finished way back in 36th. Now let's take a look at what this has done to the point standings. As you can see, Carl Edwards is now your new point leader, but not too far back is 5-time Jimmy Johnson, who's breathing right down his neck. Kurt Busch moves up to 3rd, and Harvick slips a spot to 4th, but Kyle Busch takes the hugest hit in the point standings this week as he falls 4 spots down to 5th. Over on your right is the wild card chase. Right now, David Reagan, by virtue of his victory in Daytona, would have the first wild card spot, and Tony Stewart has just enough points right now to hang on to the second wild card spot. The guys 12th through 20th in the points are chasing Smoke's points total currently, but if you look just outside the top 20, you have Brad Keselowski sitting in 23rd with a win. If he can get into the top 20 and none of these other guys fighting for a spot in the chase gets a win, Keselowski would be the guy who takes that second wild card spot. This is going to be a fun race to watch all the way down to the end, folks. Thanks for stopping by the RubbingsRacing.com NASCAR News Flash. For more NASCAR news and information, make sure to swing by RubbingsRacing.com for all of the latest. Also, follow us on Twitter @Rubbings or like us on Facebook at facebook.rubbingsracing.com. Until next time, I'm Toby Christie.